let me then address the next challenge, which is what I was calling PINK. So the acronym stands for an illustrative program that the European Commission is expected to produce. And that's a look, of course, we are now looking forward. We expect the publication of this report by the European Commission very soon, in the next weeks. And in fact, it is a consequence of Article 40 of the Euratom Treaty. And let me just quote it. And it says, in order to stimulate action by persons and undertakings, and to facilitate coordinated development of their investment in the nuclear field, the Commission shall periodically publish illustrative programs indicating in particular nuclear energy production targets and all the types of investment required for their attainment. So this is literally the mandate of the Euratom Treaty. And maybe some of you know, but the last time such a PINK was published, it was already 9 years ago. There is no obligation to the Commission to do this on a yearly basis, but the last one already is 9 years old. And no need to tell you that in the meantime the world has changed dramatically. So our point of view on behalf of the nuclear industry is that the goal to include in this program, illustrative program, is that we need to at least maintain the current nuclear power capacity in the EU. But if you translate this in figures, because the current fleet is aging and some of the current reactors by that time will be retired or decommissioned, well, this would require the commissioning of about 100 new reactors by 2045. So that's the size of the issue when the goal is just to keep the current capacity, the same contribution, the same capacity of nuclear reactors in the EU. So if we go that way, we have made our estimation and we consider that the PINK, so the program that the Commission is expected to publish, should include some steps. And the first one, of course, would be the recognition of nuclear energy as an effective greenhouse gas mitigation option to the EU. Which is, when the Euratom Treaty was written, of course, not an issue, but has become one. And as I already demonstrated, currently nuclear energy is already contributing to 1/2 of the low-carbon electricity in the EU. To do this, and that's my second recommendation, there is an urgent need to redesign the EU electricity market so that all low-carbon technologies are favored and supported and stimulated to reach this goal. This brings us immediately to a potential public intervention. You know that currently the other low-carbon sources, mainly renewables, are heavily supported by the European Union at large and the member states. And the Commission has issued special guidelines on state aid for environmental protection and energy, which include references to renewables. That's why the member states, the governments, are already entitled to support and dramatically support renewables. We do not have such a guideline for nuclear. When it was about the investment in the UK some months ago, the European Commission gave its green light to the investment in the UK, which was considered as a state aid but compatible with the goals and the aims of the treaty, but it was a special, I would say, a one-off analysis. And so far we do not have a systematic guideline system. We would like to get some, so that the investors would be more confident that they would know in advance how to behave and not supporting or going to an individual analysis each time they plan an investment. Another point that we would like to be considered in PINK is the issue of regulatory requirements. Every time we consider this, and the Commission would do the same, we remind everybody that the nuclear safety is basically a competence of the member states individually. In each member state you have, one way or another, an agency, a public body controlling nuclear safety. But we consider that there is a need to accelerate the harmonization of regulatory requirements. There are some forms of cooperation between the regulatory bodies, but we miss common rules and standards. And we consider that this would benefit the deployment, that benefit the deployment of nuclear technology in the different member states. I'm always used to refer to an example. If you are Airbus, you are manufacturing planes in Toulouse or in Hamburg or whoever in the US. Once you produce a plane, it has been licensed somewhere in the US or in Europe, and there are cross references from US to Europe and the other way around, so that the plane getting a license somewhere, or a car, when you are Mercedes or Audi, you sell a car in Europe, it is automatically licensed everywhere. We do not have such a system in nuclear, which means that each time there is a plan for a new investment, we have, depending on the local safety agency, to go through this process of a regulatory system, and it costs a lot to the utilities. So we would gain collectively to having more harmonization. And the last point I would like to quote is, of course, to create a funding mechanism to support not necessarily the construction of current reactors, but to prepare the next generation and to support the construction, the development of innovative nuclear projects. And very specifically, new reactor design. We are everywhere using globally the same basic technology as the last decades, and I think now time has come to go back to research and development and introduce new type of reactors. This is specifically underway in the US and somewhere else as well. We miss in Europe any support to that kind of new development. So that's what I wanted to tell you. So again, the Euratom Treaty, which is plainly living besides the Lisbon Treaty, is again aiming at facilitating coordinated development of investment in nuclear, and we would like that PING, this report that we expect from the Commission, would emphasize this and clarify the challenges. We need this because, back to the investment in the UK, you know that the British government is planning the construction of about 10 reactors in the future. Now they have got the green light for the first 2 ones in Hinkley Point, and this event has demonstrated, and by the way, that's why the European Commission was supportive of the state aid issue. The demonstration has been made that there was a market failure, and that without that kind of specific support, there was no way for an investor to invest in that technology, especially because of very long time of operation, and that was the reason.